Well, good morning, YouTubers. Good, mic's on. My name's Bill. This is Pirate Solutions Forestry. We got a little bit of a milling video this morning for our boat enclosure friend, Bill, who is making a boat enclosure, and he's bending boards around the top. He's basically making a wooden greenhouse skeleton to throw like visqueen over to work on a boat that he has, a big boat. And also, after he's done with that boat, he's thinking about maybe building a boat, but using it as, a workplace. And we cut some boards for him last week that were 3/4 of an inch thick, 3/4 by 4 for him to bend over. And he needs some more. He needs some purlins, and he broke a couple of them, so he needs some more to finish up what he's doing. He needs 20 boards at 5/8. He wants to try 5/8 of an inch thick by 3 7/8 wide, because the purlins have to fit in between blocks. And he put 2 rows up with blocks in between, and they have to be 5/8 to fit in the hole. And they have to be 14 feet long. So we have a spruce log up on the mill that's 14.6. It's going to cant out. I'm hoping for 8 inches. I want an 8-inch cant. I need 7 3/4 plus an eighth for the 3 7/8, and 3 7/8 is 7 3/4 plus an eighth for to cut it in half. So I need 7 7/8 one dimension, and then the other dimension's just got to be as big as I can possibly get it. So I'm going to shoot for 8 by 8. And I think in my infantile brain that works out somewhere around 8 boards each side. So 16 boards for 6 inches. So I think we'll get all 20, maybe plus a couple of bonus boards. This log's going to be tight as usual. If you notice, winter's here, and some of the neurologic damage that I have from a fall years ago. Fell off a 3rd story building the school, and I had injury to my spine. It makes my hand curl up like that when it gets kind of cold, and I'm dealing with that a little bit. I'll show you what I got going on, because I'm going to do some cutting on the DRO today. So to cut 5/8 boards, 5/8 thickness, you need to do 3/4 drops, and you know I can do it math wise, but the DRO helps with that. And what I can do with the DRO is simply make my cut, zero it, come back, and it'll keep my zero from wherever. Even if I have to raise up a little bit, then it just goes into plus. And when I come back, I just have to drop -3/4, make a cut, zero it, come back, drop -3/4, and I can just cut through and end up with 5/8 thick lumber. It's a little bit of overkill. I could do the math myself as I went, but just makes it a little bit simpler, one less thing to think about. So I'm going to take you down, show you I mapped an 8-inch square on the end of this log, and I'll show you the DRO, and I'll show you what I'm talking about as I do it. And then we'll fire up the mill, we'll mill this thing out, and hopefully we end up with 20, maybe a couple more boards that are hopefully going to stay together when they bend. I picked the spruce log because spruce tends to be a little bit more resilient than pine when bending. This log's been around a while. I'm hoping on the outside that it's still really, really sound, because we're going to use up most of it. So let's go take a look at what we got down the end down here. Maybe we'll see Danny too. He's off hunting. I think I got my audio figured out. So, oh yeah, there he is. See him? He's over there hunting, looking underneath everything, searching for mice and chipmunks. That's his life. He loves it. So I'll show you the DRO here. The other challenge that we're going to have is that when we get down to the bottom of our, see if I get you the best view, the DRO is magnetic. So what essentially what we do is I'll turn it on, and wherever I am, when I get to the end of the cut, I just zero it out. And then when I drop, you'll see it goes, I have it in fraction mode right now. So you see in the fractions it's showing -1/4. I would just come down. That's -1 inch. It's fiddly, so you get used to it. That's 13/16. That should be, there's 3/4. So there's -3/4, I'd make a cut. And then when I get to the end, I would zero it again, rather than having to set it up. And because I just threw it on, it's not going to read the same as my outside scale. This is the simplest way to do it when you're just doing drops, is to use the 0 and come back. You can also put it in incremental, but you don't have to. This is the simplest way to do it. So if I zero when I get out there, even if I raise up, it'll go on the plus side. And then I can come back, and when I drop down, I'm just looking for -3/4. That's 29 30-seconds, 7/8. Oh, 11/16, a little bit too far. 23 30-seconds, looking for 24 30-seconds. It reads 30 seconds. So there's my -3/4, and then I make my cut. On my log, I did map out an 8-inch square, and you can see it is tight. So I don't think that it's super critical if there was a little bit of wane. Now, this is the small end. If there is a little bit of wane, I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I'm going to leave my DRO off. I take it off and I take the batteries out of it so that it doesn't go dead when I need it. I'll leave it off until I get a square, till I get a cant. And then when I cut it in half, we'll use the DRO to do my drops through the log, through the cant. The other issue with this log, it does have a teeny little bit of sweep up here on the big end, but I don't think that's going to be a problem because it's the big end, is that we won't be able to cut the cant all the way to the bottom because of the 5/8. So that's going to cost us 4 boards at the bottom. Which means that when I do my drops, I want to scale off the top. So I'll cut my 5/8 off the top until I can't cut anymore. And then if I end up close on my boards, I think what I'll end up doing is I will put a 1-inch board underneath the cant. I'll have to put a sacrificial board on the side to clamp to keep my clamps low, that I'm going to cut through. And then hopefully that 5/8 and 5/8 would be 1.25 inches thick plus 1/8, so it should end up being somewhere around whatever it is. I'll be able to cut through the sacrificial board and hopefully get a couple of 5/8 boards out of the bottom as well. And we'll have to see on that. That's going to be a little bit sketchy, and I can't scale off the bottom and then do that because I don't know what I'm putting underneath it. So we're going to see if we can steel it right down to the bottom. If I get enough boards out of this to not have to do that, then I won't. And then we'll have to take a look at the quality of the boards that come out of it. Hopefully the center of this log is really good, and we're taking off any of the kind of half punky stuff, and the purlins are going to be straight. They don't have to bend, so there's not a lot of problem if the more sound boards end up being the ones that are bent and the ones that maybe have this log is solid. We'll see what it looks like when we go through it. So it's all kind of things you got to think about. I'll give you a good view here. I'm running a resharp Stellicut band. This one was damaged. It's got a couple of teeth knocked off it. I think it's going to cut fine, especially in spruce like this. But let me get you backed up just a little bit more, and then I will kind of talk my way through the process here, and you guys will learn with me because I don't know really how it's going to go. But I'm going to take the top off it. I'm going to try to stay just outside my lines in the beginning. This is probably just going to be a cut, turn, cut, turn, cut, turn. I don't think I'll be taking any flitches off this. I don't think I have enough room to. And we'll see how it goes. So you guys will kind of learn with me here. So let's fire up. I already warmed the mill up. I think it'll be good. It's probably going to run a little cold at first. So my job right now is to stay away from 8 inches, well, far away from 8 inches on my first cut. So that is just above my blue line. It's going to be low in the middle, I can tell. I'm going to stay right there. I don't even need to pay attention to where I am. Let's just go ahead and make the cut. Hopefully it's not going to be too cold on the mill. So that was a pretty good cut. I'm just going to go ahead and flip it right over right now. Band cut great. You know, I'm going to try my little PV. I got the little PV that Norwood sent with the mill. I never used it. I brought it out here the other day for a smaller job to try it, and I ended up flipping them by hand. We're going to try this thing, see if it works. Seems to work fine. So this next cut, I am going to have to stay away from 8 inches. The other good thing about this little PV is it kind of fits underneath and doesn't get in my way. Check my stops. I'm at 5, 4, 4. So I think we're good to just go ahead and dog it. I did take most of the bark off this. Just going to make sure I give a look. There was some dirt and rocks and stuff. Took 90% of the bark off the log. Just don't want to wipe this out. That band cut great. Got one little dirty spot here. Let's get the rest of this off. Okay. All right. So we're going to want to try and stay away from 8 inches while keeping an eye on our line here. Hopefully we get the top off this thing and we're at a number like 9 would be great. And I am just over 8 right there. I'm going to try to sneak a 1/2 inch out of it, see if that works. Try and stay at 8.5. And it does not look like I'm going to hit that 8 number down there. The good thing is that this is cut at 14.6, so I have 6 inches on that end to play with. I'm going to drop it. I have to drop. I'm going to drop to 8 and take another cut. That kind of stinks, but I'm at 8.5. I should have, if I was smart, I would have stayed at 8 5/8, and I could have maybe stolen a board out of this, but I think I'm just going to have to drop to 8 and cut it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be 8 in this dimension. I can go down to as low as 7 7/8, but that 7 7/8 could be this way, and this dimension could just end up being what it is when you cut through it. So I definitely am going to drop to 8 and try and stay there. You know what? I take it back. No, I'm not. Oh, I'm going to have to pause you guys. I think I just ran out of fuel. It was that weird sweep in the log there. Gonna have to pause you guys really quick while I fuel up. So through what I had left for fuel in there, there's a couple things going on here. I don't necessarily need, I don't even know if 8's on 5/8 scale. So I don't necessarily need 8. I just need 8 to be big enough to be able to split it in half. Really 7 7/8 to be able to split it in half. So one of these dimensions is kind of rubber. But I still need to, I need to get this side flat within 6 inches of the end. So when I'm saying 8 here, I'm just using it as a round number. That I'm not encroaching. I'm not going past that 7 7/8. I could cut this right at 7 7/8, which is probably what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to mark it at 7 7/8. So I know what dimension it's 7 because 7 7/8 could be on 5/8 scale. So that could work. What I'm trying to say is it's an arbitrary number right now. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and drop the 7 7/8. And what 7 7/8 gives me is it allows me to get 2 3 7/8 blocks out of it. 3 7/8 and 3 7/8 is 7 3/4 plus 1/8 of an inch. So hopefully she fires right back up. That's all the fuel I have here. So I think I'm just going to drop to 7 7/8 because I think this is going to be my worst side and cut it right here. The good thing about what I just did is I just gained myself a board, a 5/8. Well, it's going to end up being closer to 1/2 inch, but something that he could use as a board that I can edge off later. That is a possibility. And they do bend nice. That was nice to pick up. So we're going to flip it on its side. And at this point, we know. I'm just going to mark on it that at 7 7/8, this would be cut in half. So that means that my boards would come out like that. So I'm just going to put those marks on there so I know which way is going to be the way that they're going to cut out. Get her squared up. We'll cut the top off it. Get that cleaned up a little bit. And that's something I'm going to go with this. moved a lot. And it's still square though. All right, so again, I'm going to try and stay away from my line and take the top off this. Then we'll flip it over. We'll do the same thing. See if we have any problem spots. We'll split the thing in half and then mill it out on 5/8. Big chunk of dirt right there. And hopefully we end up with like 24, 25 boards here. That'd be awesome. So I'm just up about 10 there. I'm gonna try it there first. I'm gonna put it 10.5. Let's go down to my line. You know, this side really, we want to make it as big as we can make it. So I'm not trying to steal anything here. That actually looks like a good cut right there. I'm going to cut it at 10, right there. Band's cutting great. This band was damaged. It's missing a couple of teeth. It's missing, I don't know, it's more than 2 teeth. It's probably less than 3. But it is missing some teeth. I'm wondering right now if I want to, just want to look at the log. I think I kind of want to drop and take a 5/8 board out of the top of this right now. So that was at 10. We have to drop 3/4. We're dropping, that breaches my line. Never mind, I'm going to flip it over first. How bad is it? It's not that bad. I get at least 1 out of this. It does break my line. And what way are my cuts? My cuts are going to end up being like this. So this is getting split in half this way. My cuts are going to be like this. So if my cuts are like this, it almost doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter if I leave it. I don't think I'm wrecking anything to drop 3/4 and take it off. I'm going to go down to 9 1/4. That's going to give me a 5/8 board. That's going to give me 1 really clean 5/8 board. It's not going to be 2, I don't think. Now, if I just cut a huge log, I wouldn't have to think of any of these things. Now what I can do right now is I can flip this on its side and cut it in half. Then I can flip the two of them up and just mill it out. And to cut it in half, I'm going to come up off the deck 3 7/8, which means I got to put my stops way down. So that's why I put those lines on the end right there, so I know that I'm going to mill it down this way. So I can cut this right in half at 3 7/8 right now, then flip it up, then just mill it out. And right now, I think, oh, sure I'm low enough to cut it in half at 3 7/8. So I'm going to drop right to 3 7/8. Hopefully there's a chance this log doesn't work too, guys. So let me just go in, I'm going to mark this. It's exactly the center of the log. It's exactly right in the center of the pith, right dead in the center of the log. So it looks like my math is right. Looks right. I'm going to go ahead and cut it right straight in half. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pull it back this way a little bit, flip this whole thing up. We're going to clean up the top a little bit and then start milling it off at 5/8 drops. Take what we can get. I think we're looking okay. There's going to be some wane on a lot of these. See if I can do this fast so I don't lose one off the side. Yep. Oh, all over. I'm up on something. If we don't get this whole order, one good part is that I have a beam to cut for my friend who's putting some beams inside his house, and it's 15 feet long. And that's the next log I'm cutting. So I can steal some material out of that. This is going to end up being a problem with this stop that I cut through. I'm going to have to repair that sooner than later. I knew this was going to be a problem holding cants. Let me get it on these two. Oh, I got to drop that all the way down. That one's not even going to be on the log. So I don't hit it. So like I was saying earlier, We can't mill it all the way out. We're just going to take what we can get. I'm going to come down to kind of, as a guideline, my blue line. I'm going to cut a flat on it, and then I'll start using my DRO and dropping 5/8, 5/8, 5/8, and we'll see how many boards we get out of it. I'm going to start at 8 inches. We're just going to start there for the hell of it. I think that was a pretty good place to start. There's going to be some wane on a couple of boards here, but it is what it is. So I know that my next drop, I'll have to use my DRO after this because I just messed it up by moving. So I know I cut that at 8. Just double check, and I know that my drop's going to be to 7 1/4. We'll measure the cut. Yeah, that was 8. I'm going to go right to 7 1/4. This should be 5/8. Now I'll fire up my DRO. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up my DRO right now. I'm going to zero it. I'm going to go up one turn. One turn was actually an inch and a 32nd. Go -3/4. -3/4. I'm just going to perfect. Looks like perfect 5/8. I'm going to close down my mouth just a little bit. Now, before you move, you got to hit 0. And I can go up as much as I want, come back, drop to -3/4, and make another cut. There we go. This pattern is working out perfect right now. I'll show you before I finish how consistent these are. Okay, now before you move, you got to 0. Go up like 3 cranks. We'll come back, just drop the -3/4 and make another cut. All right. There you go. It's so good. When I show you these boards, it's so consistent. sure I zero first. Go up enough to clear. Drop down to -3/4. There we go. Hit 0. Helps to know that if I'm just up above 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just going to take you down pretty quick and show you the pattern on the end to show you how consistent these are cutting out. Don't know if I'm going to, what do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some of them are no good. 4 more is going to get me to 18. It looks like I'm going to be close, but I'm going to have some weight on a couple of them. And we'll see if that works or not. But at least I'll have some to give them and to get them going. And then when I cut, when I edge those off, I'll get a couple more. So it's going to be, I think I got my 20, but I want to show you how consistent the pattern's coming out. You can just see the consistency in the boards. I don't even need to measure them at how even they all are. It's cutting out perfect. So we're going to continue to cut down. And like I said, I won't be able to go under 1 inch. And I don't know how that's going to work out right now because we're scaling off the top, not scaling off the bunks, which is what I normally do, so that your bottom board comes out the same. And let's just hope. We're going to waste 4 boards no matter what, but they got weight on them. So let's make a couple more cuts, just see where we end up. And then I will kill this video and I will shoot another one when I get to cutting the beam. I want to get both these small loaders out of the way before Thanksgiving here. All right, so I got to hit 0 on my thing. Go up above 8 because that's where I was. Let's go back. Drop below. So we got 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets us to 0. Oh, had it. -3/4, -3/4. Just beautiful consistency. Right now I'm at 2 3/4. So I got at least one more cut in this. Two more cuts. Yeah, hit 0. Go up just above 8. Back. I was at 2 3/4, so I know if this ends up right, this should be at 2 inches. Negative 2 inch. I should be at 2 inches on my real scale. I can just go like really close to right there right now. 23:30 seconds. It's 1/32 down. There's negative 3/4. Exactly at 2 inches. And my next cut will end up being at 1.25 inches. All right, 0. I know my next cut will be 1.25 inches, but I'm just going to go ahead and go up above 8 and back. All my stops are low enough, I believe, for 1.25 inches certainly. So it's going to leave me a 5/4 board, 2 5/4 boards on the bottom. So back and just drop myself right down to go right to 1.25 inches. And that's exactly negative 3/4. So perfect. Myself up above at 8. Shut my DRO off. And strangely enough, we almost ended up on scale at 1.25 inches on my bottom board. 5/8 and 5/8 is 1.25 inches, but you're going to lose the 1/8. You're going to lose the 1/8 in kerf, so there'd actually be a 1/16 of an inch under 5/8 if I cut that bottom one right straight in half. There is a lot of wane on that other side, so I'm not really losing anything by not cutting that bottom board in half. To do that, I would have to come up with a way to space it up, but we ended up getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 18 there. Coupled with some serious wane. I'm going to get at least 2 here. So I kind of get close to 20. I almost like to split that bottom one in half if I could. I got wane down there too. The thing is, it gives me at least 2, maybe 3 more boards if I could do it. I'm going to pause you guys. Let's see if I can come up with a setup to cut it in half. All right, so I'll tell you what I did, and hopefully this works out. Rather than a sacrificial board, as I was unstacking the pile, I left 2 of the 5/8 boards, 4 of them total, 2 on each side. I put the 1.25 inch boards on the top. I've got them clamped off, so I'm actually clamped on the 1.25 inch board, and I understand that my saw is not going to clear those clamps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting in. When I get past that end clamp, I will put that up and I will clamp it there. As I come down to this clamp, I'm going to have to unclamp it and get the clamp out of the way, cut past it, and and then I can put it back in when I'm past it, and then as I get to this one, I can just drop this one out of the way, cut past it, and we'll see how that works out. Now, just going to have to do math off the top. I'm going to have to split this right in half, which 1 1/4 inch should be 5/8 minus. So, and I'll double check it as I do it here. Well, it won't be 5/8 minus because I'm not cutting from 5/8. Right, so that's kind of the top of them right there. Right now I'm at 2 5/8. So if I drop to 2, that's dead perfect right there. That's losing my 16th, I think. I'm just going to mark them and measure them. I don't have to mess with it too much. It looks pretty perfect. Make sure everything's down. It's the only board that's going to be a problem is this one. If I could get a clamp on it, I might be able to clamp it down and then unclamp and cut past it. I've got to keep in mind I have to stop before my clamps. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut until this clamp and then unclamp it, drop that, cut past, then I'm going to pick it up and clamp it tight here, go to the next one and do the same thing. I'm almost going to clear my clamp there. I'm almost going to clear both clamps. Huh. Big clear both clamps. Okay, we'll stop there. I want to pick this stop up and clamp this really good here. And this stop can come all the way up. I want to clamp it right up against it and clamp it down tight. So it can't move. Oh, that sucks. I could have done this better. I would have cleared this if I had just done a little better job. Okay, I'll clamp this one right here. And I'll cut past that clamp and then reclamp it. This just keeps me from having to do some huge, massive setup to do this. I do steal a few boards this way, so it's worth it. And let's get this one off. Nope, I have to do the same thing I just did again. I gotta unclamp this one anyway. I can just pick this one all the way up. Clamp it tight and then cut it out. Yep, should just be able to go now. So let's see how they came out. It was a good way to do that. I never thought of that before, really. I would have put a sacrificial board in there and stuck them on top of something. So let's see how they came out. Yeah, they look good. So that's good. I stole 4 more there. That's good. Yeah, these came out really good, actually. They were both a kind of a 16th, maybe even a 32nd less than 5/8. Yeah, 16th less than 5/8. So 9/16, which is fine because his measurements were plus or minus on his thing. That's perfect. So I think I just ended up with 22 there. I edged these 2 off. I think that gets me to 24, and I think I'll be good. And I'll just tell him when I cut Jimmy's 6x6 out of the spruce log also, any flitches I take off, or I will cut at 5/8. Then I can do that by math, just 3/4 drop. And then I'll edge those 2 and give those to him too, just in case any of these break. So appreciate the watch, guys. Hopefully, if you get anything from me, getting to see a DRO, which I never use, but cut really consistently, and in a simple way to use it rather than setting the whole thing up and having to, get it all planned out. Just using a mix between the 2 scales works out really nice, and just using 0, drop it, 0, drop it. You don't even have to use incremental or anything. So I did do a video on putting that thing on. If you want to search, what's that? The eye gauging DRO. And if you look up my DRO video, you'll see I have all the information on where you can get one and how I installed it and everything else. So hope you guys are having a great day. I will shoot some more video when I'm cutting Jimmy's beam, and we will hopefully get a couple more flitches to be able to give him a couple more boards. I'm going to go dump those over there. I am going to send him a message telling him that his package is ready to be picked up. I will explain to him when he comes, because he wants to get going on what he's doing, that I am going to edge off a couple and give him a couple more later. And we'll see how it goes. Oh yeah, and it's time of the year. I got to start putting antifreeze in my water. So hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks for watching. For myself, for Danny, who's digging a hole over there. We always appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, suggestions, comments. I answer everything back. We are Pirate Solutions out.